Are you ready?
I guess so.
What's your name?
My name is Tyler.
And how old are you?
27.
Okay, Tyler, so who are you on a soul level?
Soul level. I like to think or at least someone I strive to be, someone that's genuine, honest, selfless, caring. Obviously those are all traits that I strive to be, so obviously I fall short of those every day, but someone that doesn't take themselves too serious and just tries to better themselves on a daily basis by taking those actions and living by those characteristics.
Okay. So is there anything that's happened in the past or anything that's going on now that kind of formed who you are, has had a really big influence on who you are today?
That's a good question. I know a lot of the stuff I've gone through in terms of loss and trauma in my early 20s, I think has shaped a lot of who I am today. Part of being selfless and being caring and understanding, you never know what people have going on in their lives, because there's a point in time in my life where, both of my parents are hospitalized and institutionalized, and I'm here to take care of both of them in the middle of school. There's a lot going on, but I wasn't going out and just telling everyone about it and complaining about it. I was just doing my best to go along with my life. So, you never know what people are dealing with on a daily basis. People you pass in the streets, God knows what they could be going on with them. So that kind of, along with a lot of things, shaped the whole attitude of being selfless, doing little things for other people, and caring and trying to be kind, because you never know what people got going on, and the little act of kindness can make someone's day, and I've experienced that I think on both ends. So
okay, so I'm gonna give you 3 categories, and I want you to tell me what means the most to you and what means the least to you, and you can mix and match them how you want.
Okay.
So the first is love, sex, relationships. The next is society, culture, politics. And the next is spirituality and or religion, because those don't go hand in hand for everyone. So for you, what takes the
What's
first
the most important?
Oof. Yeah. And you can break them up and zig them.
Man, I'd have to stick with spirituality as the most important.
Okay.
Or religion, whatever. For me, it's been a huge part of my life, and me being able to walk through things is having a relationship with some kind of God or higher power, whatever you want to describe it as. That's been so important to me, because that's something that I over time I've grown a relationship with a God that I believe in, that takes care of me. And when I was walking through all this trauma and all these things going on in my life at a young age, that's something that I relied on, and I'm not afraid to say that every morning and every night, at least twice a day, I pray, and just talking about the things I mentioned earlier, asking to allow me to try to do the next right thing and to be selfless and to be honest and not be judgmental. Obviously, I fall short of those things every day, but spirituality would be a top on my list for sure. I think all 3 of those categories are, I could talk positive about all 3. I think the one I would say the least important was the one with politics. Society, that was...
Society, culture, politics.
More of the politics side. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I'm the type of person where, you have so much, especially in this day and age, there's so much crap going on with all that, and me personally, I don't pay attention to it a whole lot. I think it's unfortunate, kind of the divide we have in our country, but I'm also not very knowledgeable about it. But, at the end of the day, I think also we could be in a much worse spot, but I would definitely put politics on the...
Do you vote?
I actually have not voted in the last election. I think I've been registered for the last 2, so that's a good point. Maybe I should vote in the next election. Maybe. Which I do plan on it. I think I'm not even sure can't remember if I was registered for the last one or not. I was definitely old enough, but I'm definitely registered now, and I'll definitely be voting in 2020.
Okay. So, you said spirituality's first.
Mm-hmm.
politics is last, so the rest of them we got love, sex, relationships, and then you have the society and culture part.
Should we touch on all of them?
Yeah.
So, in terms of love, sex, and relationships, I mean, for me, now I'm thinking of relationships are one of the most valuable things that I have today. I think at the end of the day, you have your experiences you had in life and you have your relationships. And I've been fortunate to obtain a lot of just amazing, friendships and some relationships throughout, especially the past several years. People that I can just rely on for anything, and being comfortable telling them anything, like going down all the way deep inside of me, like talking about insecurities that I have or fears that I have, things that a man shouldn't talk about, right? But I have so many people, and I have people all over, across the country. I even have solid relationships in other countries, which is mind-boggling to me. But so those are very important to me, and I think that all kind of connects with love and sex too, which has been a struggle of mine, especially in the past couple years. After I can dig into things that happened with my mother and how that's affected me in my relationships with women and being able to build intimate relationships with women after essentially losing my mother mentally and emotionally when she was one of my idols growing up, and she just blanked once my dad got diagnosed with cancer, and that has directly affected my relationship with women and being able to build relationships, which is something I'm currently working on in therapy and some other things. I just got I took a right
That's
turn there.
That's what this is for, though. You're doing great.
So the other one was culture, and what was it?
Yeah, society and culture. So, what are your thoughts on society?
So,
right now?
I just got back I was just overseas in Europe, and I've been abroad. It's my 4th time abroad, and culture is something I guess ties together that I love to experience just different things. I think it's very important, and I think it's very important to respect different, everywhere you go is different. Things are just done differently, and it seems weird at the time, but really it's just different. But I think that's very important. People have their different values that they live by, and going to different countries and just seeing how things are just done differently is something that has opened me up inside. And I try to stay open-minded for everything in all aspects of my life, and so that's kind of been a neat thing for me as well.
Okay. So now I'm gonna get you to draw.
Great.
So I want you to pick colors that represent you and your life and the things that make you happy, sad, triggered, excited, whatever. Ooh. And then I want you to tell everybody why you picked the colors you picked.
Oh man, that's tough. Get a black. All right. I gotta say why?
Yeah.
Blue and green, I don't know, they're kind of like more bright colors that, I don't know.
They're so bright.
They're, I don't know, I think of like a day outside when the sky is blue and the grass is green. It makes me happy. Mm. Red, I don't know, it's just red and black are kind of just colors I like to draw with. Okay. Black is just a basic color. Yeah. And red is a strong color, I guess. It's also part of our state flag, which I really like, so. Okay. Not much thought behind those two.
Alright, cool.
Did I have to draw something?
Yeah. So draw whatever you want.
Great.
And I'm going to ask you questions, and you don't have to finish. Don't feel pressured. Nobody finishes, so it's going to be okay. Alright, the first question, what makes you the most upset? What really pisses you off?
Ooh, man. There's obviously a number of things. I think one thing that, well, at least in this day and age, or kind of now, where I am in my life is, I don't know if it so much pisses me off, but it just frustrates me when people take themselves so serious, and how people think they're very important and have all these, these important jobs, or they have all this money. That really just sets me the wrong way. It's a very pet peeve of mine. Because I think we all could get like that, and we all could look at these things that we have, at least I could, things I have going on in my life that are, you could say, quote unquote, really cool. Things I'm doing with my job or my profession, my other career, that are like just really unique, right? And I could say like, oh, I'm gonna be the best of the best in this career one day, but it's like, is it really, like, who cares, right? And when I hear people talking about it, they just feel like they need this status, that just pisses me off. They have no sense of humility, and those are the kind of people I just honestly I don't want to be around. There's one thing I say every morning, every night. I pray that I not take myself and take life too seriously, because in my experience, and like, people die, you know what I mean, at a young age, especially this day and age, and at the end of the day you're gonna die anyway, so like, I don't know, and life is just going by so much more and more quick that I'm just like, man, I'm in my late 20s now, like, where is time going? So it's like, you know, and when I take myself seriously, that just, you know, brings on stress and other things and whatnot. It's just things I don't want to have in my life.
Okay. So, what excites you more than anything? What makes you really happy?
I think when I see people that I love and that I truly care about be able to do something with their lives, take steps in whatever area. Maybe that's professional, maybe that's they dealt with some kind of illness prior, mental illness or something, and they're able to walk through that and walk out to the other side. I think the greatest joy I've had in my life is from seeing other people that I love, that are really good friends of mine, be able to do something like that and kind of overcome some adversity and push through and get somewhere where they thought they couldn't even be. And I could say that for myself too. Like, I've surprised myself with things I've been able to accomplish in my life and fears that I've overcome to, you know, accomplish some things. And so I think, you know, I can just think about the greatest joy I've had in my life is watching others that I know be able to do something with their lives, especially when they were at a darker place prior.
Okay. So what are you most afraid of?
Ooh, fear. Fear is a great one. I think, if I'm being honest with myself, you know, and I grew up with a lot of anxiety, just mental depression, just, you know, there's a bunch of crap in my head, and I still deal with it today. It's obviously gotten a lot better over time, and, you know, the fear just kind of ran my life for a long time. And what I'm most afraid of today, which I know is still BS, I can sit here right now and tell you it's BS, but it still pops up in my mind all the time, is this thinking I'm not gonna make it, right? I'm not gonna be successful. These people aren't gonna like me, right? It's the same kind of the self-centered fears that I have. Because I love to please people, and I think I need to make this money and have this status, which I know sitting here right now is a bunch of BS, but that's not what my mind will tell me. So I'd say my biggest fear is, you know, not being able to have a lot of money and people like me, which I know is a bunch of crap, but that's definitely something that comes up in my head on a regular basis. So I'm gonna start drawing.
Okay.
Something. I haven't drawn anything yet.
Make a face that explains you. Like, if you were a facial expression, what would it be?
Oh, a smile, I hope.
Okay.
It's kind of hard to do it on the spot. Is that good?
That's fine. Okay. Explain to me what social media is to you. Like, what do you think about it?
Oof.
How do you use it?
I mean, I have Instagram, I have Facebook, I have Snapchat. I don't really use Snapchat anymore. I mean, I think it has its positives and it has its negatives. I mean, obviously a big negative is you can spend hours and hours a day on it and just be very unproductive. And I think actually this is the thing I think is the worst about it. You see people post stuff on Facebook and Instagram, just their highlights of their lives and all the good things they're doing, right? You know, and I think a lot of that roots from people's insecurities, and, you know, they want to, and I've done it, you know, you post something, I was like, oh, I want to get 100 likes on this one, right? It's like, because you're trying to fill that void or fill something inside of you. So that's definitely a negative aspect of it. I think a positive aspect of it is it's a platform for people to connect in some way, shape, or form, like different, you know, posting a status. You know, some people might get pissed off about it, but it might reach someone, like say something talking about suicide awareness or something like that. People offering their experience or something they've gone through, and maybe just some random person sees it, and maybe that just gives them something to help them out that day. So that's definitely a positive aspect of it. So it's definitely, there's a lot of pros and a lot of cons. I wish I didn't use it as much. Sometimes I'll just find myself scrolling through Instagram, but I think there's definitely, there's two wide sides to it.
Okay, good answer. Do you have a 5-year plan?
A 5-year plan. Well, I just graduated school finally in May.
Congrats.
I'm full-time already working, and I got a good job that I love, and I also have another career that I do. And 5 years from now, I'd be 32. I would say I would like to be married at that time. I don't know about kids yet, depending on how old she is. I think, financially, this continuing to grow on what I've had. Financially, I've been very responsible. I don't know if I would say like I want property at the moment. But that would be something that I'm now not looking now to do, but something in maybe 3 or 4 years to buy some type of property, and just other than like outside things. Hopefully, I'm a better person than I am today. Continuing to grow internally, recognizing where I'm wrong and where I can improve, and hopefully, I'll just continue to grow. I think that's the most important thing, because outside things are gonna come and go, and maybe I'll be engaged, maybe I'll be married, maybe I'll be single. Shit, like who, you know what I mean? Like that's how it's been. So like I have no idea. I think it's the best thing for me to do is just try to live in the present and just do what I can. And I take myself too seriously. I'm gonna keep saying that.
Okay. Do you have any vices? Like, what do you do when you're stressed out or when you get anxious or you need to release?
Anxious. I just completely messed this up. I love to exercise. It's one of my careers is I run a gym, and that's definitely like a safe haven for me, somewhere I can just put my headphones in and just go at it, and clears my head, obviously. It's a good spot for me just to be by myself. It's a form of meditation for me. I would say that is a big thing, and I exercise on a regular basis, so I don't experience too much stress in my life, which I'm grateful for, like being able to, even going through the rough times I was going through, being able to keep like a steady schedule and just try to continue to move forward. But that's definitely a huge thing for me, and I have education background in it, so there's also other physiological effects to it that will reduce your stress and whatnot. That's definitely a huge thing for me. That's definitely the one thing that pops out.
Okay. What's the craziest thing you've ever seen?
The craziest thing? Oh man, I don't know. Craziest thing?
And if you can't think of like the craziest thing you've ever seen, then what's the craziest like situation you've ever been in, like with friends, or like where you're just like shook that like what's happening?
I guess one thing that sticks out to mind, I don't know if this is crazy or not, it was a cool experience. I'm trying to think of like famous people I met. I was at a Wizards game when I was like a kid, and I remember it's when Michael Jordan was playing on the team. And I have a history in basketball. I played in high school, I played in college, and I was playing at the time whatever grade I was in. And I remember one of my old soccer coaches worked at the now I forget, it's Verizon Center now, whatever. It's called the MCI Center then. And he got us down there, and I was able to sit in the starting lineups and like high five Michael Jordan, which was really cool. And it's kind of like I wasn't very tall, and you look at this guy like he's a giant. That was obviously an awesome experience. I'm trying to think of like I've had some crazy things happen in my life. I'm just nothing sticking out to me in particular. Yeah, I don't know if I can think of anything else.
Okay, well, your story works. It's fine. The Michael Jordan works. A lot of people haven't met him. And Hurdy's kind of an asshole, so I'm glad he, high-fived you or whatever. what don't you want to tell people but know you probably should share because it could help someone else? So like, what's something that you wish more people would talk about but they don't, but you don't really talk about it?
What's coming to my mind is talking about, I mean, you can talk about what's going on with you, right? But really getting down to the nitty gritty and how you feel about things. So I mentioned it prior, like I've been, especially growing up, I've been full of fear and full of insecurity, right? And also growing up, I have this huge ego and this huge pride that covers those things up. So me today, and it's something I try to share with people about. I still have a lot of insecurities that I live with on a daily basis. Like I mentioned, there's plenty of times where I think I'm not good enough. I think these people don't like me. I think I'm never gonna go anywhere in life. All this crap just running through my head, and like, do I really want to talk about that and put this out there? Not really. In my mind, or in a lot of people's minds, it's gonna look like you're weak. But really, a lot of people would argue that the opposite.
Right.
That's something. I'm vocal about it, but I'm something that I think more people would relate to. Stuff like that. Really, you can talk. Like I said, you can talk about how you feel, but really, this is how I feel about it. Like this thought came in my head today, right? And it's just full of insecurity and fear. Like, does a man really want to talk about that? No, but is it important? Yes, because I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that.
For sure. Is there anything else or anything that you're self-conscious about other than like failure? Because I feel like we're all terrified of failing. Or is that just like the main thing?
I'm definitely like anxious about like if I'm ever gonna be in a good relationship. If I'm being honest with you.
Have your relationships been terrible?
No. The last one I was in, which was a while ago, was about a year, and it wasn't anything, like nothing bad happened. Like neither of us took us inappropriate action or anything like that. I just ended it because I just didn't think I didn't have as much of a passion for it as I did when we first started, and I wasn't fair to her if I was going to keep dating her. I look at it now; it's kind of different. I think she was getting too close to me, and I didn't want her to come any closer. Just from a lot of the stuff that went on with my mom is around that same time. I haven't had a whole lot of relationships in my life. I've been single for 3 years now. But I've tried dating some people in the past year or whatnot, and nothing's worked out, and so I have a legit fear about that. If I'm being honest, that's something that I'll be discussing. Well, I have been discussing with my therapist, and something that I will continue. So that's definitely. What was the question again?
Is there anything you're like self-conscious about?
Oh yeah.
Or anything else that like racks your brain other than
that's for sure. One of them.
Is there anything that you want people to know? Like, do you feel misunderstood in any way? And if you do, like, here's your floor to like tell people what you wish they knew. Because I feel like a lot of people look at people and think certain things. So is there anything that you wish people would? You could just If
I did I would because I've gotten a lot of people tell me different things about when they first met me, what they thought. Yeah. I've gotten like super fun, enjoyable, talkative. I've gotten you're very intimidating, like all over the spectrum, right? If someone didn't know me and was just looking at me, I would want them to know that like I talked about in the beginning, like I'm willing to be helpful in any kind of way I can with whatever they have going on. Like I don't want to I don't want to be intimidating or anything like that, or righteous or have this ego. I want to be kind and caring and selfless, and obviously some days are not as good as others, but know that like I'm approachable, and it's someone that's easy to talk to and understanding. Because I know a lot of people, I guess I can put off this vibe sometimes of like more serious or whatnot, and that's not what I want, but that's just how it is sometimes. So if someone didn't know me, I would just want them to know that I'm approachable and that I'm open and I'm open-minded, someone you can talk to, and that's like essentially non-judgmental. Because I've done some shit in my life that I'm not proud of, obviously. So, yeah, that answers that question. Do
you send important information through text, like Would you rather speak to someone in person?
I'd much rather talk, or at least talk on the phone. Yeah.
That's good.
I can't stand texting sometimes, but you know, it's what it is.
Ooh, share an embarrassing moment.
Embarrassing moment? Oh, I have one. This just happened 2 weeks ago. I was I was in France, Nice, France, on the coast, and I was riding a scooter, one of those electric scooters, going like 20 miles an hour, no shirt on, flip-flops. You know, it's sunny out, it's beautiful out, we're on the coast, riding a scooter, my buddy's in front of me, his scooter isn't going as fast as mine for some reason, and there's a bike coming on the left, I'm going up to pass him. Bike gets a little too close, long story short, I hit his handlebars, we both hit on the ground. My whole right side of my body is cut up. I mean, I still have a bandage on my foot. And I remember right away as I fell, and I was like, oh man, I feel great. I was so embarrassed because it was my fault. Maybe the bike could got it. But anyway, I'm going to take the blame. And I got up, and I was like, I looked at him. He had one little cut on his foot. I look at me. I'm like all scraped up. But I was like, let's go. Let's get out of here. And it was definitely very embarrassing. I don't like to be embarrassed. I don't think anyone does.
At least you're in France.
Yeah, I'll never see any of those people. Well, I'll see the guy that I was in an accident with, but
yeah.
Yep, that was not fun, and I'm still dealing with the foot injury, which is not fun.
Okay.
Whatever.
What's missing?
What's missing?
What's missing?
Well, in all reality, nothing's missing, right? But my mind will tell me that. Well, definitely the thing that comes up the most is a woman. I mean, it's all material things that are that I think I need. It doesn't matter how much money I have in investments or how much is on my paycheck. Like, I'm always gonna want more money. I was thinking about that earlier today. There are some nights where I just feel lonely and I want to have someone there, so I think I need a girl. But there are also nights or also days that I'll lay down and I just feel full and I feel like I don't need anything, which in all honesty, that's the truth. But obviously my mind won't tell me that all the time. My mind loves to tell me feed me all this crap all the time. So, you know, like I said, I don't think anything's actually missing. It's just a lot of times I think there is. So it's just a bunch of BS.
Okay, and I give everybody the same scenario. So all of the electricity goes out, everything stops working, nice. But the phone screens, TV screens, computer screens pops up like PSA, public service announcement, and then it's your face. So everybody in the world can see your face, but everything else just like doesn't work. What are you gonna say?
What am I gonna say?
What are you gonna say to the world?
Like no one knows what's going on.
No one knows.
No one has a clue.
No, it's just.
So I gotta like save everyone's life, save everyone's sanity. Is that what you're saying?
Probably.
What would I say? It's a lot of pressure. What
would you say? What would you do? Or
I would say something. Well, I don't know how encouraging you can be at that moment because people are probably freaking out. Like, who knows what's going on? Are we being attacked by aliens or what's going on in this world? I would want to say I would say something like so stupid. No need to panic or something like that. Like everything's gonna be all right. I mean, a typical response you would get from like an official or something. But I mean, what can you do at that? What can you do at that point to make it any different? There's nothing you can do. Then whatever. Like.
Okay, let's switch this up.
Yeah, I don't know. What?
Okay. Okay, what if it wasn't a panic situation, but you got the chance to speak to the whole world and say what you need to say? I got you. What are you gonna say?
I think I would say something along the lines of why. It's just like why or some like it'd be the message of like kindness, right? Like what is the point of being harmful to each other? You know, why I mean, I hate all this. Like, where's the peace at, right? And kind of like I mentioned before, like you walking on the streets, you never know what people have going on with their lives. So like, I would suggest to people, like, if you're walking out at a restaurant or a coffee shop or something, and you see someone walking behind you, maybe they're not right behind you, but a few steps behind you, why don't you just hold the door for them an extra second? You know, something that I would just love to see more in society is less frowns and more smiles. You know, you're walking past someone, just a little grin doesn't hurt. You know, you never know what that can impact on someone's day or life. You know, and just that would be my overall message. You know, just peace. You know, which is never gonna happen, obviously, but just trying to be nicer to people and just not taking yourself because you're taking yourself seriously, that's just gonna cause you to be a little asshole. So that would kind of be the message. That's kind of that you worded the question that was better the second time.
Exactly. Well, you should hear some of the things that people say for the first one that are very funny, but also you circled back, so it's fine. Oh, I did forget a question. Have you ever been treated differently because of your appearance?
Because of my appearance.
Have you ever felt like this happened because I am a white male?
Oh, you know, nothing sticks out to me in particular. I mean, I've never experienced anything negative, which I've actually thought about before. I was like, how would it, like, you know, let's be honest, would life be different if I was a different race growing up in the society we grow up in? And would I be treated differently in some aspects? Would people automatically judge me in a different, from the get-go just by my appearance? And I think, in my opinion, I think the answer would be yes. You know, so we always have our, you know, the prejudgments of, we see someone doing something, you know, and we automatically think, oh man, that guy could be a troublemaker or whatever. So I haven't experienced anything, but I have thought about, would it be different? Would my life would be different, or where I felt different if I was, you know, a different, not even just a different race, a different sex. If I was a lot shorter, if I looked different physically, like, would that affected me differently? And I would say yes to all those different categories. So, you know, so I yeah, that's kind of my take on it.
Sweet. Thank you for doing this. Show everybody what you drew.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah.
I didn't finish.
It's okay.
I drew, so we talked about before, I drew my kind of my house. This is what I would go to when I would draw stuff in school when I get bored, and it's kind of time appropriate too. Now this is the house I grew up in. I've lived here for 19 or 20 years, and now I'll be moving out in about a month. So it's definitely gonna be a weird thing, emotional thing. It'd be a good thing. It's a new chapter in my life. Obviously, there's a lot of memories, good and bad, and just a lot of things from this house. So that's kind of was appropriate too. I'm not very artistic, obviously.
Can you sign it?
Can I sign it? Yeah, I can do a signature. Which color? Let's do it in red. It's the one I use the least. This is Tyler in the flesh.